Let's get to the story of the day. Here I am, in free fall, with my own will. Where should I begin with this story, I wonder? I drowned when I was 12 years old and had a near-death experience. I already felt like an outcast before this occurred, despite my best efforts to conceal this from others and, at times, from myself. I knew I was never truly at home here and was only passing through, that my parents were not my source of support and that I was here for a reason. I knew I was safe in being guided. I also knew stuff I shouldn't have known given my age and the conditions of my upbringing. My foresight was always correct. I was aware that I was tired in a way that was not produced on earth. I received the distinct impression that I would always long to return to my true home. I suffer from chronic loneliness, which I've learned to cope with. I drowned because I had just recently relocated to the Netherlands and had yet to learn to speak or read Dutch. No swimming was posted in Dutch on a sign beside the pond. This was due to the hazardous whirlpools. I was never afraid of water and considered myself a competent swimmer because I grew up near the sea and also lived for many years near a river. It was a beautiful day, so I went for a stroll with my buddy Ike along the dike near Rijswijk. Ike began walking along one side of the water as we got close to it. I took a seat for a few moments before going in to cool off. I was barely in the water when I realized how cold and brown the water in the Netherlands is in comparison to ours. Someone appeared to have seized both of my legs and was pushing me to the bottom. There must be monsters in this water, I reasoned. I was being dragged down and could only see the light fade away. I tried to swim to the top like I had done numerous times in the sea when diving and wanting to come back up, but I appeared to go deeper and deeper. I realized that exhaling would be my final breath. "Let go," said a voice. So I let go, and the panic that I had felt dissipated, and a sense of serenity washed over me. Then I noticed a body floating immersed in the water. I thought it was all quite pleasant and quiet until I realized it was all me. But how is this possible? I've arrived. So who was that? I had no feelings about my body other than to remark, "That's my package. This is indeed me." I felt as if I was drifting further away from my body, and I knew that when I looked down to see where my legs and body should have been, there was nothing there, yet I felt more complete than ever. I attempted to determine if I felt more like a lady or a guy, and it appeared that I had more feminine energy, but I knew I could have been either. I was being dragged higher while also hearing a loud peeping sound. I looked around and realized it was coming from me. At the same time, I became more aware of the nuances surrounding me. To my right, I felt a strong presence, my angel and protector. While I was becoming aware of him, two shadow-like things appeared from his left, ready to take me with them. "Leave her alone. She's one of ours," said my angel. As he stated this, the shadows vanished, furious. I was led upward and observed an eruption of colors. While I was observing the explosion of colors, I heard calm music coming from all directions. I could see and feel everything around me at the same time. The music got increasingly apparent, and I wondered, what kind of music is this? It was, in fact, classical music. I never listened to it as a kid. I learned that my tone frequency is part of the rest, and that we all generate different music in the universe at different times. My protector was still present and informed me that my next trip would be more serious but still safe. That's exactly what occurred. In the film of my life, there was a type of dark tunnel that altered. It reminded me of the pond where I drowned. I saw, heard, felt, and experienced everything at the same time. When I saw how upset my parents would be if I didn't return home, I knew I was terribly angry and sad. We made it through the war together, and now they're going to lose me in this way. My mom would be devastated. I witnessed this in detail, and it caused me much distress. My father would be in the same situation. Later in life, my younger brother would miss me. I saw numerous diverse glimpses of my life that revealed my future, people I'd meet, situations I'd find myself in, and things I'd supposedly have to go through. I learned I was a vital member of my family and that I needed to assist them on their spiritual path. This life summary was completed, and I continued down the tube, but the tunnel turned transparent. Through it, I could see the entire universe. It was entirely bright as I arrived at a sort of round cloud entryway. I hovered there and was told I could have a quick peek. I observed a swarm of light beings standing in a type of row, having what appeared to be an important and fairly serious discussion. Surprisingly, when I was asking myself what this was, the answer came to me as well, as if I already knew and only needed to remember. These beings were waiting to help on Earth. The Earth requires assistance. As a child, I recall soaring above the planet and hearing, "Please, assist." This is what I remembered at the time. I hovered above these glowing beings for a while, but I couldn't go any further. "We're going," I heard. I was back in a tunnel, heading toward a location that made me happier the closer I got to it. I suddenly understood that if I go there, I won't be able to return. "You're going back," whispered a voice that seemed to emanate from everywhere. I was extremely let down. I felt love, calm, and a sense of belonging, and I must now return. I continued saying no, but was resisted. The next thing I knew, I was opening my eyes underwater and hearing the words, "Swim to the surface." After what seemed like only a handful of strokes, I was at the surface. I made a deafening leap out of the water and wondered, what in the name of God was that? Aiki was standing on the bank, looking at me, shocked and afraid. She indicated with her hand that she had been seeking for me. I sat down because I was shivering. She wrapped a sweater around me. I'm not sure how we got to our pensions. I knew we were still walking, but it didn't seem like we had arrived. It appeared that I was someone else. That sensation would stay with me for years. I didn't dare to tell my mom what had happened because she was a severe ma'am. She came down on my head a little over having gone swimming when I got home and saw that my hair was damp. That night, I didn't dare to sleep. I wanted to know what had happened to me, but I was frightened of dying again and losing my parents. Because of what I had witnessed before, I could sense their regret. I awoke the next day knowing that and seeing this world, but also seeing what I'd seen in the ocean. I couldn't concentrate and was confused. I questioned God why he was torturing me. In response, I heard that we will take away a lot of those memories since it is too much for you at once, but that you will gain them all over the course of your life. That's exactly what occurred. I was no longer seeing doubled visions, but rather normal daily life. I was already a closed book, but this sealed the deal. I knew I had a close link with God from infancy, and we had chats, but this was beyond all of that. We had escaped the war. I did not have a good childhood, was extremely sensitive, and experienced memories and experiences that I should not have had from birth. I felt like I'd been different for a long time. I yearned to be normal, but this experience made it even more difficult. Meanwhile, I've turned 40 years old. I could write a book about the magical times in my life. The odd thing is that I've already been assigned a title for the book I'm working on. I've been hesitant for 28 years since it would be personal and expose me, but I know I have to deal with it. If it does not become a book, I genuinely hope that anyone who reads it may find something for themselves in it, perhaps rediscovering or strengthening their own connection with our source. I know I should write this book, even if it's only for myself. You are continually learning from the minute you arrive until you go, and I have a lot of lessons ahead of me. Even now, as I write this, I'm learning another vital lesson. I originally chose eternity and the satisfaction of remaining here. I was reminded of the lesson I'd learned during my near-death experience. My heart is only performing at 25% capacity, but I know that everything is proceeding as planned.